Bashuasi. Well, let me call you Sayaka Bashuasi, okay? I'm going to be telling you in this video how it might have been that we did not get together that night. You seem to have come to my house and stopped in a car in front of my mailbox, okay? But you didn't look like you. I'm going to explain in this video how that might have happened. Now, in keeping with what I'm going to tell you in this video, that I heard a song in 1975 that did not come out until 1983. And I heard the finished song as it came out later, according to my phone, although I heard it in 1975 at this time. I'm going to ask you, when you were younger and slimmer, perhaps, and just younger and looking younger, did you ever wear your hair in a tango hairdo? Meaning, like the tango dancers with the curly Q slicked down on your brow, or however you might have done it. Did you ever do that when you were younger? And look somewhat differently than you do now when you were younger. I'm just asking you, think back and think, did you ever wear your hair like that? So, okay, now go ahead and watch the video that I prepared for you. Because I'm here waiting to try to get together with you. I cannot get to you. Obviously, I don't know where you are. And according to what I've read, I'm not even allowed to look for you in your country. So, I'm going to find you. I can't. Okay, I've sent letters, no answers to the letters. I've made maybe 1,000 videos over the past three and a half years. No comments on the videos, no reply to the videos of any kind. Yet I've held on. So, I was asking my artificial intelligence search engine some questions the other night about alternate realities as the English physicist Stephen Hawking understood them. And one of the questions I asked was how it was I could have heard a song burning down the house. And I forget the name of the group. In 1975, that my phone says, Google search says, didn't come out till 1983. Okay, and I heard the finished version that was popular later, according to my phone, in 1983, but I listened to that song exactly as the song is. You can get the song now online. I listened to that in 1975, 8 years before it came out. So I didn't know that until like the past year. I was thinking, let me get that song. I have to visit my grandfather. At the time I graduated from the University of December 1975. I drove up there in my car, and when I hit Washington, PA, I was at the McDonald's there at the edge of town, and that song was playing. I remember it quite clearly, and it was, I liked it, and I had it blasting in my car. So years and years later now, how many years from age 22 to now, 50 years later, I just said, well, I remember that song. I've heard it occasionally, but I never did have a copy. Let me get a copy of that song, Burning Down the House. And I look it up online, and I read that it comes out in 1983. So I think, oh, hackers in my phone are playing with me, right? But everywhere I look, I see that that 1983 date backed up. So I asked my phone, in terms of alternate realities as Stephen Hawking knew them, how could that have happened? And the answer I got was that I could have heard that song as what was described on my phone as a photon leak of that song being broadcast in an alternate reality that leaked into my reality. And that's how I heard it 8 years ahead. So I'm now thinking here, laying in my bed in the dark here, that night when the person I've been calling Bishuasi or somebody like her seemed to show up in front of my house just a few minutes after midnight one night. In the summer, I guess it was just this past summer, 2025, around July, I guess. I'd have to check the date. But I had gone out to my trailer at, I don't know, close to midnight. It was a summer night and I was awake. So I went into my trailer and I left the door open. The screen door was closed and I lay down on the floor in there and I didn't turn on the light. Why I was doing, I don't know. No reason. And I was just laying on the floor of my trailer, looking out the screen door. Okay. And this car, a few minutes after midnight, I heard this noise, like something scraping on the street. I couldn't figure out what it was. And then as I'm looking around, I'm looking out my screen door while laying on the floor. I see this car drift down in front of my house with the engine not on and the lights not on. Okay? And it's kind of an old jalopy type car. It's got like gray and, you know how if you replace parts on the body of your car, they're often unpainted and they'll be like gray in color. So if you've replaced like a fender or something, it'll be gray until you paint it, right? So this car, it was kind of a motley car with gray here and there where parts had been replaced on the body and not painted. So it was kind of an old car. It was a car that somebody who didn't have much money might have had. Okay? And it's drifting down, engine off, lights off in front of my house a few minutes after midnight. And I'm watching and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is some kind of setup here, possibly to murder me. Because I come out, let's say, well, let me say I watched. The car came to a stop right in front of my mailbox, in front of my house. And I measured the distance the next day. It was 31 feet from where I was laying on the floor of my trailer to where the driver would have been in that car. It was 31 feet away. Okay? I measured it with a tape measure, the next day because I thought maybe it was a murder attempt. And why was it a murder attempt? Well, I had written or made recordings like this one where I was saying some gruesome murders have occurred near this house in Wheaton Regional Park. These were murders by Hispanic gangs. And they were written up in local newspapers. It seems that a Hispanic woman lured this Hispanic man to Wheaton Regional Park on the idea that she was going to have sex with him. And there, that man was gruesomely murdered and his body dismembered so that his heart was buried in one place and other parts of his body were buried in other places in the park. Now, I was saying in the recording I made about this a while back that me and my siblings, we used to play in that park. Our mother would drive us there, let us out of the car, and there was like an airplane, a real jet airplane that was there you could climb up on, and, well, that was about it. Climb all over it, and I don't think you could get in the cockpit, but there was that jet airplane there, and there were other things in the park, and it was fun to go to that park once in a while and play. And here at this park where I played as a kid, there are now gruesome murders by Hispanics. And that park is not far from this house. So I had been reading about that, and now this car drifts down in front of my house just after midnight, and there's a woman in it alone. And what does she look like? She gets out of the car as if she was having car trouble, right? And she's looking at her phone, and the light is on her face. Now, as I've said before, the woman did not quite look like the person I've been calling Bishuasi, okay? She looked younger, and her legs looked thinner than what I've seen as Bishuasi's legs when I've seen Bishuasi's legs. So I was figuring, since the lady had on a hairdo that was like the hairdo of one of those tango dancers with the curly Q here on the forehead, I was thinking, my God, this is a Hispanic woman. She looked like a Hispanic woman. And I'd just been talking about murders in a recording like this. And here's an attempt to lure me into a murder, maybe. I'm going to go out there and say, "What, is you have some trouble with your car?" Well, I was saying to myself, I'm not going to go out to that car no matter what. If she sits there for an hour and is calling for people to come and help her, and maybe a man, a boyfriend, a husband comes, or God knows what, I'm not gonna budge out of this trailer. I am not gonna budge to help that person. This is a setup of some kind. I will not go out there. Okay, so I didn't go out, and at about 12:20, she was there about 20 minutes. She got back in her car, started it up, and drove off. And I had said to myself while laying there is nothing wrong with that car. This is a setup. Okay, now, for you to understand why I'd be thinking this way about setup, you'd have to be familiar with a lot of the videos I put online. And I don't have the time to go back over all of that. So, here's what I'm now thinking about tonight. Okay, I was just talking about how I did hear a song in 1975 that did not come out till 1983. I did. And I clearly remembered it, and when I looked it up, I saw that the song had come out in 1983, and how could that have happened? I heard it in 1975. There is no doubt about my having heard it in 1975, because so I got the explanation in terms of alternate realities, and it made sense. Now, I'm now saying to myself that although from what I read in further questioning of artificial intelligence about alternate realities, as Stephen Hawking understood them, I now see that there's no mixing it up between alternate realities. In other words, you can't step from one reality into an alternate one. There's no crisscrossing back and forth. Everything in the realities is anchored. So there are like parallel universes, but there's no interchanging. You can't step from one into the other. It can't happen, from what I read. However, the same phenomenon described for the leaking of that song into my reality could explain why if that was Bishuasi, it did not look like her. And it could explain why the car she was in, or appeared to me to be in, was not actually the car she was in. What might have happened is a leak, once again, of the alternate reality into this reality. And that leak of photons from the similar situation happening in a parallel reality, it, to use language I got from online, it blurred what I was seeing. So that if the actual person Bishuasi had been there, and it was her, and it looked just like her, and she was in a different kind of car, the kind of car I'd expected her to come to my house to pick me up in or meet me in if she was going to come here, from messages I'd got from her. Well, she was in that car maybe, and it looked exactly like her, and it was her. But because of that leak from the alternate reality, it blurred her, to use that word blurred. Meaning, it changed her appearance and the appearance of that car. And so I did not see her or the car she was in. I saw someone who looked somewhat like her, but not identifiable as her. And the car, if she was in the kind of car she said she was going to come in, I did not see that car. I saw something else. I saw the blurring of her reality, to use that word, by a leak from an alternate reality, which altered everything I was seeing, and therefore I did not go out to talk to her or help her. I was terrified of what I was seeing. Not because it was blurred, okay? Because it was something completely unexpected. I was thinking, here's somebody acting as if she's Bishuasi to fool me in some way. I wouldn't dare go out there. And so I'm thinking to myself, if that was Bishuasi, okay, and she came that night and she saw me go into the trailer because she was parked a house or two up the street, waiting out there. She saw me go in. She pulled down in front of my mailbox. She got out and stood there. And she thought to herself, I'm here. I'm in the car. I told him I'd come in. I saw him go into the trailer, and he's not coming out. He must know I'm here. He's not coming out, so I'm done with this. I'm not coming back. I gave him his chance. I had to come all the way from my country to here. I had to rent this car. I had to do all of this to get here, and he didn't come forward to meet me. I'm done with this. See what I'm saying? I'm thinking to myself tonight, because I've been trying to say to myself, if that was her that night, why hasn't she come back? Well, there could be the reason why she hasn't come back. She hasn't come back because of what I just said. And I'm saying that what I saw was not what she thought I saw. And the reason is explainable in terms of alternate realities. And I beseech her, if she's able to see this video, to understand what I'm saying, that as proof that this kind of leaking that can confuse things can happen. I heard a song in 1975 that did not come out, was not even written until 8 years later, and I heard it in 1975 without question. So I'm beseeching you, Bishuasi, to understand what I'm saying, okay? And the explanation that I just gave. Today is the 1st of May, 2026, and the time is, it's 2:29 in the afternoon on May 1st in in Tokyo, which means it's 1:29 a.m. on May 1st here in the Washington, D.C. area of the United States of America. Bye for now.